look at, I guess, your idea of the future of aging. So what I mean, and there's a couple of pieces in this. So one is, so where do you see aging going? I mean, like 150 or older. Is that like a short-term thing, or is it like further out? Do you have like a time for when you think 150 would be?
So, of course, this is pioneering technology, which means that any kind of prediction of how long it's going to take to come to fruition is massive speculation, right? But at the same time, I do not think that it makes sense for me to just refuse to answer the question. And this is something that gets me in trouble with a lot of my colleagues, because they say, yeah, we shouldn't be getting people's hopes up. We should be under-promising and over-delivering and all that. I say that no, I don't think that's true in our case, because people care about this, and they have had thousands of years to come to the conclusion that aging is completely immutable and we're never going to be able to fix it. So if we don't say anything, they're going to carry on thinking that, and they're not going to try. They're not going to be interested in taxpayers' money being spent on trying to fix it. So we've got to give predictions, even though we have to explain that they are very speculative. So I do this, but I make it probabilistic. I say that I think we have a 50% chance of reaching a decisive level of comprehensiveness of these damage repair therapies within about 15 years from now. Now, when I say decisive, what does that mean? What it means is I think that's the time frame within which we have a 50% chance of reaching a threshold that I have called longevity escape velocity. So let me briefly explain what that is. It arises from the fact that these therapies are going to be damage repair therapies, rejuvenation therapies. These therapies will essentially make people biologically younger again. And what that does is it will buy time. So if these therapies end up being fairly good at fixing all of the types of damage 15 years from now, but not perfect at fixing any of them, then you may be able to take a 60-year-old and rejuvenate them back to having the amount of damage that they had when they were 40, right? So let's call them biologically 40, right? Now, the thing is that the damage we will have repaired can be called the easy damage, right? Because by definition, we can repair it. And the difficult damage is still there and accumulating because the therapies don't work on it. So by the time the person is, let's say, 90, they're going to be biologically 60 again, because they're going to have accumulated difficult damage up to the threshold of where they were when they were 60. But that's kind of okay. I mean, it's not okay as things stand, because, of course, it's all difficult damage. It doesn't matter how often you apply the therapies, they're still not going to work anymore. So the person's going to carry on accumulating damage, and they're going to get sick and they're going to die. Except that, of course, they won't be 90 years old for 30 years until after they got the first therapies. And in those 30 years, scientists like me will have been beavering away trying to improve the comprehensiveness of the therapy. So 30 years down the road, you know, we still won't be able to fix all the damage probably, but we'll be able to fix some of the difficult damage, as well as, of course, all the easy damage. So then we will be able to rejuvenate the same people. So they won't be biologically 60 for the third time until they're chronologically 150 maybe, and so on. So the idea is longevity escape velocity is the minimum rate at which we will need to improve the comprehensiveness of the therapies in order to stay one step ahead of the problem, so that people who are always receiving the latest therapies will never have an amount of damage in their body that's too much and that makes them sick. And that's where I think we have a chance of being within 15 years from now. After that, if you think about what this means, the actual rate of progress that we need, in other words, longevity escape velocity, it actually goes down over time. It's not like the singularity where you need accelerating change. It's just the opposite. It actually slows down because the residual amount of damage that's so difficult that we still can't fix it. There's less and less of that, and it takes longer and longer to get to a pathogenic point. Yeah, so about 15 years.
15 years to escape velocity. That sounds...
But then to answer the rest of your question about longevity. So, of course, I hope I've said enough for everyone who understands that longevity is not what we work on. We work on health, and longevity is a side effect of health. And I have to emphasize that all the time, simply because people still cling to the idea that this is all about longevity for longevity's sake, and they're ambivalent about it because they don't want to be sick for a long time, they don't want to be old for a long time, and they just refuse to listen when I say, no, dummies, it's not about that, it's about keeping people young for a long time. So the thing is, there's no way we could put a limit on how long people can live. There's no point in talking about 150 or 1,000 or whatever. The fact is, longevity will not be governed by how long ago you were born. Your risk of death in the coming year will be determined by things that are age independent, like road accidents or asteroids. And, therefore, we may live to 1,000, we may live to 1,000,000, who can say? The point is, it's just about what other technologies come along.
Right. Yes. So thank you very much. So one last question. Just so do you have one small habit that you have to help you reach this point in 15 years?
No, I don't have a small habit. I have a big habit. I have the choice to work on it. I believe that my own work is hastening the defeat of aging, and therefore it's somewhat increasing my chances of making the cut. That's really all I can do. We know that the lifestyle and dietary choices that can be made today do not make much of a difference to how long one can live. And especially they don't make much of a difference to someone like myself, because I'm just lucky. I'm kind of well built. When I have my biological age measured in various different ways, which I've done maybe half a dozen times over the past 20 years, I always come out far younger than I really am. So that's great. And it means that on the one hand, and also I can eat and drink more or less what I like and nothing happens. I don't even need much exercise. So, so I'm just lucky. But it also means I have to be conservative, because even something that might be beneficial for most people might not be beneficial for me, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing.
So can you tell people where they can find out some more about yourself on SENS, where they can get your book?
Sure can. There's one copy of my book on your bookshelf right behind you. The best thing to do is to go to my website, which is sens.org, S for sugar, E for elephant, N for November, S for sugar, .org. We have masses of information there that is written for every kind of audience, from experts all the way through to complete novices. And of course, we have lots of news there on what we're doing, what other people are doing. We are very happy to answer questions as well. There's a contact form where you can ask any questions that you don't find the answer to, and we're very prompt with that. And of course, there's a nice big friendly donate button. And we're in the middle of our end of year fundraising campaign right now. So that at the moment, we have some large donations that have been pledged to us as matching pledges, which means that every small donation that comes to us, everything up to $10,000, in fact, with up to a total of maybe $500,000, will be trebled. So will be multiplied by 3. So anyone who wants to make a difference financially, please go ahead. We could not do what we do if it were not for our supporters.
Excellent, thank you. And you have a newsletter, I believe. You can sign up on the.
We sure do. We have a newsletter.
Excellent. So thank you very much for your time. You've been very generous on Thanksgiving.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope that your audience enjoys it.
Thank you all for watching. I hope that you found the video informative. Please do hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell button for new video release notifications. It encourages us to continue to create more videos about anti-aging and extending healthy lifespan. Thank you so much for your kind support. I wish you all well, and will speak to you again soon.